In January 2010, Haiti was hit with a massive 7.0 earthquake, killing thousands and injuring and displacing many more. There was an outpouring of international emotion and aid. Author Amy Wilentz has been traveling to Haiti and writing about it since the late 80s. In her book called Farewell, Fred Voodoo, she talks about the aftermath of the earthquake and the well-meaning aid workers that sometimes do more harm than good. She also discusses the history of Haiti and the often troubled relationship with the United States. Amy Wilentz joins me in the studio. Amy, welcome.
Thanks, Mimi.
Why did you go to Haiti that first time, and what makes you keep going back?
The first time I went down to Haiti, I went down because I had read Graham Greene's novel, The Comedians, and I realized, because I lived in a neighborhood that had a lot of Haitians in it in New York City at the time, that the Duvalier dynasty was coming to an end and that baby Doc Duvalier was about to fall. So I was desperate to go because I had never been, and I felt some attachment already.
You were a journalist at the time.
I was a journalist working at Time Magazine, and it was a very dull job. I was like doing rewrite at Time Magazine. And so I wanted to go down, and I was afraid I would miss the Duvalier dynasty entirely, that it would have fallen before I ever got to Haiti. And I wanted to see that bit of history, so I would have that stored in my Haitian baggage. I felt the call already, and then I went down, and indeed I got there 5 days before the dictator fell. And so I got to see the Tonton Macoute, which were the famous, notorious secret police of the Duvaliers, and I got to see them in action, and I got to take their pictures, and I had no film in my camera, it turned out, because that's the kind of journalist I was at the time. But, that I fell in love with Haiti then when I saw
Why?
the dictator leave, and I will also add that the favor has never been returned. It does not seem to have fallen in love with me. Why did I fall in love? Well, because first of all, apparently there is some kind of a syndrome when you see a moment in history like that of revolutionary change, which it seemed to be. People get very attached. It's almost like a trauma in reverse. It's very seductive. People who watched the French Revolution happen, apparently, they were changed for the rest of their lives. And I think that happened to me. I saw the Haitian people pouring out of their houses the next morning. So he left at around 2 a.m, and we were at the airport, the International Press Corps, and then we came back into town, and the whole town was filled with people carrying branches of trees and celebrating the end of this terrible torment for them. So I think that was one reason I was captivated.
After the 2010 earthquake, you were a little reluctant to go back. Why was that?
Well, I had written my first book about Haiti already, and that was published in 1990. And I had been writing about Haiti for a really long time, and I was just pulling back a little bit, And I thought, maybe I can do something else with my life, and the only thing in my obituary, if I'm lucky enough to have an obituary, won't say she wrote about Haiti, and that's it. But then the earthquake happened, and I hate earthquakes. Okay, let's be honest. I really don't like them. I don't like aftershocks. I don't like disasters. I don't like chaos. I don't like riots. I didn't know what was going to be happening in Haiti. And also, I didn't like the idea that because of this catastrophe, Haiti would be reduced to being like any other place. Because for me, because I know it so well, it's a very specific place with its own series of specific problems and triumphs and greatness. And I didn't like the idea that an earthquake reduces you to being like anyone else in an earthquake. But then I did go down.
I mentioned in the introduction that thousands were killed. Do we know how many people were killed in that earthquake?
Well, no one really knows. Haiti's not a place famous for keeping, very refined statistics in the first place. It's been an oral culture for a really long time. The major language of the country is not really a written language, although now it has a written orthography. So they're not used to keeping such documents. And in the chaos of the earthquake, as you can imagine, when at least 100,000 people were killed, and it's estimated possibly 316,000 people were killed, nobody was like counting and making, rows of fives.
But the Haitian government was inflating those numbers, weren't they?
I believe that those numbers were inflated, possibly emotionally and psychologically. The Haitian government, the members of it who were giving these numbers to the press, felt that that's what it felt like. And they were based in part on the number of trucks from the sanitation department in Haiti that made runs filled with cadavers. So, to throw them in a common grave. So that's what it was kind of loosely based on. But it couldn't hurt to have more dead in terms of what the after effects would be on international aid.
So after the earthquake, a lot of outsiders, many of them Americans, started flooding into Haiti
Yeah.
with a lot of money.
With a lot of good intentions and a lot of money.
So first, let's talk about how Westerners view Haiti and Haitians.
Yes, what I like to do in this book, and I do it quite naturally, is I have Haiti eyes and then I have American eyes, and I'm looking at the Americans with my Haiti eyes and at the Haitians with my American eyes, and I think that the Americans thought that what they were going to do when they came in, and not just Americans, but French and Israeli and Sri Lankan, you wouldn't believe the parade of countries that came in to help out, especially with relief. But I'm talking more about the recovery effort, which is a little bit later. Relief is what happens right after a catastrophe. So they came in thinking the Haitians were backward and incapable, and felt that they themselves, the helpers, the outsiders, were going to rebuild Haiti and remake Haiti and fix Haiti and build Haiti back better, and that they were coming in with the know-how and technology so that they could really do that, and the money.
But isn't that true?
No. And the Haitians were looking at them and thinking, after a while of watching how these people behaved in Haiti, they were thinking, well, you're scared and you don't trust us, and you're having too much fun, and you're too young, and you don't know what you're doing, you don't know who we are, and you're not finding out. So they really felt that a lot of the people in the recovery effort weren't serious. But of course, a lot of people were very serious. There was a problem, especially in what I have come to believe is like a racial fear of Haitians and a fear of what such bad poverty as Haiti has will do to a population. So when the helpers came in, they didn't really want to mix too much with the Haitians they were helping, with exactly who they were helping. And they didn't really mix it up with the Haitian people. They drove around in big, what we call in Haiti, embassy cars, big like Nissan patrols. And they met in clusters of other organizations, and they had no-go zones where they were too afraid to go into places in Haiti. And so they didn't really know who it was they were dealing with or how to help them.
Amy Wilentz is in the studio with me. She's the author of the book called Farewell, Fred Voodoo, A Letter from Haiti. You said that their attitude can be summed up as, to save this country, we first have to destroy it.
Well, that was the feeling about the earthquake, that, this was a great opportunity. Look, Haiti's destroyed. How great.
Now we can
and
rebuild
fix
it in our image.
Right. And that was really not the case.
How do Haitians view Western development agencies?
Well, they have had a lot of experience with USAID, which has been there for, I think, about 70 years in Haiti, and which has had a very large presence and which has done a lot of projects. And the main thrust of USAID in Haiti was to develop the country to a point where there would be democracy and no hunger and education. And so you look at the 70 years of USAID, and Haitians are very skeptical because democracy, it's better certainly than under the Duvaliers. Is there real education? No, it's not a government education. They don't have public schools really, a couple. Healthcare is still very low and done by outsiders. Sanitation is poor, water sources are poor, and joblessness is the one thing that's really high.
Is Haiti a failed state?
I don't think it's a failed state, but it is a penetrated state. To me, it was one of the first economies in the world of a sovereign nation that was completely globalized very early on. The workforce was from Africa. The owners of the plantations lived in France, many of them, or were French if they lived on Haitian soil. And the product went back to Europe or to the United States. So it was completely globalized in the days of the slave plantation and has continued to be largely globalized. And now globalization is hitting Haiti very, very hard.
You talked about USAID. There's also the Clinton-Bush Haiti Fund. It collected $49 million in the year 2010, and then by the end of that year had only spent 15% in Haiti. How do you explain that?
I'm both sympathetic and very critical of these people. I think what was the Clinton Haiti Bush Fund before the earthquake? It didn't exist, right? So it really had no presence on the ground in Haiti. It wasn't really an entity. It was just a fund collector. So then it had to decide how to spend those funds with no one on the ground, no facilities, it had no meaning other than take in funds and then give out funds. And so it started to give funds to small businesses, but these very minimal grants and loans.
But also, isn't it very hard to determine how to spend the
It's
money
very,
in Haiti?
this is
Just
why I'm
because there's
sympathetic.
corruption, and you mentioned
This
there's
is-
no record keeping.
This is why I'm very sympathetic to these people. It's
I
not
mean, there
only,
was this one couple that you mentioned, sorry to cut you
yeah,
off,
that's all right.
that were very well intentioned, and they had to buy the same plot of land like from 3 different people because
Right.
everybody was saying, "Oh, that's my land. You have to pay me
Right.
for it." And then there were
Right.
thugs, and the guns came out.
It's not easy to do. It's especially not easy to do if you don't know what you're doing and if you don't have people around you who know what they're doing. And I think partly that's the problem of the Clinton Bush Haiti Fund. But I don't really understand the Clinton Bush Haiti Fund. If this is what Bill Clinton's idea of building Haiti back better is, I don't understand it because most of those monies, as far as I have looked at them, go to people I know. I mean, these are people who already have money. These are people who are already doing small businesses that I know. I mean, I went to a party and there were a lot of Clinton Bush recipients there, and it just surprised me that this is where they were directing the money to build Haiti back better. And I think Clinton has a very old-fashioned regard for Haiti, and he likes Haiti, but he knows a certain class of people in Haiti, and that's who he thinks are the job creators. It's almost a very Republican view of how you would do foreign aid.
What about the actor Sean Penn? He's been working in Haiti for a couple years now.
Sean Penn is a little different. I think he's very skeptical of everything now, and he had some rough times in the early days when he tried to depopulate his camp, and it wasn't very successful the first time around. And then, since then, he's been very careful about how he does things, and he has 15 outsider employees working for his group, and he has 300 Haitians. So he's doing what you need to do to make things work on the ground in Haiti. I don't know the state of the finances of JPHRO, which is the name of his group, but I'm sure they've fundraised a huge amount. He throws gigantic fundraisers in Hollywood every year.
But Amy, you are critical of the movie stars, the celebrity journalists that went down, and you say that they used the earthquake and the tragedy and the suffering as a backdrop.
They used it as a backdrop, and you can see it in the coverage of Sean Penn, too. There's a certain amount of Haitians, injured Haitians, or Haitians living in bad conditions in the background of the pictures of Sean Penn bossing people around. But he actually lived there and worked there, and he even lived in the camp at the beginning. So I think, there's some kudos to him for going into the no-go zone and staying there. But yeah, I can't stand it when Kim Kardashian comes down and gets photographed with some starving Haitian people and then goes to a fashion show at some fancy hotel up the hill, as we say in Haiti, and then comes back because she got divorced too quickly, So she's trying to clean out her sins in the stream of Haitian misery.
It can be said, though, that they are putting some more spotlight and some media attention on Haiti, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, I think Sean Penn very consciously did that. He said, okay, put me in front of it, take the picture, people are going to know about the earthquake. But after he did it, then so many followed, very brief stays, no real interest, no commitment. I'm not impressed by it, and I don't want a spotlight like that. I want a spotlight of people who really care and will get things done so that the money from us, from people like us, little $20 contributions that add up, will go to people who know what they're doing instead of to Clinton and Bush on a telethon.
The book we're discussing is called Farewell, Fred Voodoo, A Letter from Haiti. Amy Wilentz is the author, and she's in the studio with me. What does your title mean, Fred Voodoo?
Fred Voodoo is not an actual real person. Just a lot of people think it must be some real person whose last name is Voodoo, like some hip-hop artist or something. Fred Voodoo is the term that was used when I first came down to Haiti by the International Press Corps to refer to the average Haitian person in the street. So I would get back to the hotel, like Joe Sixpack, yeah, Joe Q Public or whatever it used to be. But Joe Sixpack is really the equivalent, and a British journalist would say, so did you talk to Fred Voodoo? What's Fred Voodoo thinking, when I would come back all scraggly and heat-ridden from the streets of Haiti. And it was a less politically correct era, so that's what they said then. Nobody really uses the term now. But what I meant by farewell, Fred Voodoo, is let's get rid of the stereotype. Let's stop labeling Haitians with voodoo, which we don't even know what it is, but it seems to have this very other, very African, very black magic-y, superstitious, bloody, maybe sexual, possibly feeling to it.
Well,
and we don't want to have. I don't want Haitians to be viewed that way.
Let's talk about voodoo itself.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What's the belief system?
Well, it's a pantheon of gods. So it's like Greek religion. That's what I'm always reminded of, and I'm always thinking, I wonder if it was like this in Greece, in ancient Greece. There's animal sacrifice, so I think that's one thing that has led people to feel it's very bloody.
These are farm animals, though.
These are farm animals, goats, pigs. And there's ritual, dancing, singing, and the gods come down from the heavens through a pole in the middle of the temple. And there's a priest, a voodoo priest, as he would be known outside of Haiti.
What's the relationship with Christianity?
It has a very, very difficult, tortured relationship with Christianity, because when the French imported the African slaves, what they knew very well was that the religion was very important to these people, and that the religion was not easily controllable, and that the African slaves liked to meet and hang out on their Sundays and do voodoo ritual. And the French didn't know what they were doing, and they thought it was seditious, and indeed it was seditious. So the French and the Americans later repressed it completely and burned the drums that are played in voodoo ritual and all the ritual items, and forced the African slaves to convert to Christianity, to Catholicism, actually, of the French. And so there's a cliche about Haiti, 99% Catholic and 100% vaudouisant. And that's true. And each Catholic saint is a mask behind which the Haitian god hides. So Mary, the Mother of God, is Erzuli, and Ogun, the warrior god, is Saint Jacques. It's very complicated.
Going back in history, Amy, the late 1700s, early 1800s, the African slaves rebel against their French masters. They gain independence. Why was that revolution so important on a global scale?
Well, first of all, it was the era of revolution. So there was the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, 3 years after the French Revolution. 1791 is when it began. And what was so important about the Haitian Revolution, I think these are the three revolutions that have made the world what it is today. And the Haitian Revolution was the first freedom-fighting revolution. It was the first revolution in which the slave class actually overturned the master class. So the American Revolution severed the U.S.'s ties to Britain, but it was really a middle class and upper class revolution. They didn't want to be taxed the way they were being taxed. But this was a rebellion from the grassroots. And it was a national revolution. It was an economic revolution. It destroyed slave capitalism. I would argue that it destroyed imperialism as it was known at the time. It destroyed colonialism eventually. It gave the Louisiana territories to the United States, making the United States a complete continental country, because Napoleon could no longer keep hold of Louisiana after having lost to the Haitian slaves.
So this was the first and last successful slave rebellion ever.
Right. And by the way, the world did not give thanks to the Haitian slaves for fighting for their freedom. In fact, Haiti was blockaded by the United States. It wasn't recognized by the United States as a real country until 1867, which you'll note is 2 years after the Civil War was concluded. The French forced the Haitians to pay reparations. So the French lost, the Haitians won. Usually the other way around. So it was an indemnity for property, and the property that the Haitians had taken from the French was themselves.
So Frederick Douglass was one of our first emissaries in Haiti, and in 1893, he said that the United States, quote, had not yet forgiven Haiti for being black.
Right.
What do you think he meant by that?
Well, first of all, I think we can say it again today.
You think it still applies?
I think it still applies. I think Haiti is really the whole problem for America and Haiti is that we don't want to address our racial problems, and Haiti is just another example of a racial problem in the Americas. But yeah, of course, Frederick Douglass would say that this was a black nation, and we were a slaveholding nation. And even after we were no longer a slaveholding nation, it took a long time. 1965 was the Civil Rights Act for us to actually make our African Americans the equal of white citizens. And he was absolutely right at the time, and I think he's right today.
Going now forward to today with the aid organizations and the missionaries, you say that sometimes they will use victims of disaster, including the Haitian earthquake, as a money-making tool.
Right. There's kind of a battle. Who has more rape victims, you know? I have 20 rape victims in this camp. How many rape victims do you have in that camp? Because the more, it's like inflating the number of dead. The more victims of one category or another you have, the more you can raise money. And you know, you take pictures of them all and you tell all their stories. And then people feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much rape in the camps. I have to give money to this women's group.
But don't the Haitians do something like that as well? I mean, don't they see the white man as
a target?
A big bag of money?
Yes, yes. I say in the book, every Haitian has his own white man. This was something that a Haitian columnist wrote after the earthquake, you know, the Haitian following the white man who is basically in cartoons would be a giant dollar bill. Sure, they do that. And they do that. And so I treat all statistics in Haiti with a big grain of salt because I can't be sure, and I know this is a terrible thing to say about rape victims, so let's go to orphans. I can't be sure that the boy who's declaring himself an orphan is actually an orphan. He comes to me and he says, I'm an orphan and I need you to support me and give me a tent. But I don't know that, like so many orphans I've known in Haiti, his mother isn't living up in Cape Haitian. There was one kid who I used to know who's now a 32-year-old man. Well, ostensibly he was an orphan, but every once in a while he would borrow some money from like 3 of the journalists who were habitual coverers of Haiti, and he would go up to Cape Haitian to see his mom who lived outside of town. So, I mean, he had a status as a street kid, but he thought orphan was better.
Have you become cynical, Amy?
I'm not cynical. I've just come to know humanity more. I don't think Haitians are different from anyone else, by the way. They live in dire poverty, and when you live in dire poverty, if you see an opportunity, you're going to take full advantage of that opportunity. Haitians just happen to be specialists in the white man because of the legacy of both slavery and the American occupation from 1915 to 1934. So they know us pretty well, and we've been mixing ourselves into their politics for a really long time. So I would say that there's using on both ends of the relationship.
So what's the solution here, Amy? Because as an American and an American taxpayer, I don't know how to help.
No, I know. It's really confounding. I think one thing is that Americans who make small private donations, they have to really do some research. And I know it's hard, and it's really hard to tell who's good and who's bad. Who would not trust President Clinton and President Bush? I would trust President Clinton, and someone else would trust President Bush, and together they should be pretty good. And I don't think they didn't want to be good. They wanted to be good, but I think they failed. And they closed down the Clinton-Bush fund, by the way. So it no longer exists, and we can't really follow the paper trail for them. So it's very hard for the average person to figure out how to help. And then you say, well, why don't I not give $20? Why don't I go down there and help? But I don't even know if that works. And yet, I don't want to be part of this Republican narrative that says we shouldn't give any foreign aid. Because I think, first of all, the impulse to reach out your hand to your brother has to be a good one, right? I just have to believe that. But to do it irresponsibly is bad.
So again, what's the solution? I mean, you're saying do your homework. I mean,
I really think one thing that has to happen is that the Haitian government, which is no longer, and I don't love this government at all, but it's no longer a dictatorship. It will change in another 2 years, and the legislature will probably finally get its act together and have a new election. So I think what has to happen is We have to enable that government more, even though for years and years it's been used as a sieve to throw money at and get your way in Haiti. So if you want to open a business in Haiti, you throw money at an official, and then you open your business, and you never have to pay another tax.
So you say we should enable
We
the American
we
government?
the American taxpayer and the American government and
In
the
what
larger
way?
or we have to bring that, as they used to say in the old day, we have to bring them along with us. But no, we have to allow them to be responsible for stuff and give them money and make them responsible for stuff, and then we have to watch them. Just the way any aid organization always works. If you hire people, you watch what they do. You don't let them buy 3 vehicles for their own private use. You make them keep documents. They learn to do that, and then they start to do it themselves. But they have to be responsible. They have to make a long-term economic plan for Haiti. Why doesn't Haiti have that now? Because they don't want to have it, because they're used to the corruption. And the corruption, you can't be corrupted by someone who doesn't want to corrupt you.
There's a doctor that you got to know quite well in Haiti. Tell us about her.
This is Megan Coffey. She's a New Jersey girl, so I have a warm spot for her because I am too. She came down to Haiti right after the earthquake because she had a Haitian American friend, and she was always planning to go down there. Then the earthquake happened. She thought, oh, I'll go down now. I'm a doctor. So she went down. She's an infectious diseases specialist, so that wasn't really what you needed most at the very initial moments after an earthquake. So she started out by doing trauma work and triage and orthopedics. That's what you do after an earthquake. But then she began to realize that the main hospital in Port-au-Prince, the biggest government hospital, didn't have a TB ward, and Haiti has one of the biggest burdens of tuberculosis in all of Latin America. So she established a kind of ad hoc TB ward under a tent in the national hospital. And slowly but surely, it became a permanent feature of the hospital. So now she runs a real ward with a real building in the middle of the national hospital. And she
this
has
is all as a volunteer.
all as a volunteer with Haitian staff volunteering. She started to raise money in this really small way. She gives out teeny bits of money to people who seem to really, really need money. And she really takes care of her patients on an individual basis. Now, maybe what I'm saying is everything has to be small, but things have been so small for so long in Haiti, so many little groups running things, that I don't think that's the answer either.
Amy Wilentz, she's the author of several books. This one is called Farewell, Fred Voodoo, A Letter from Haiti, and it's published by Simon & Schuster. Amy, thanks so much for being on the program.
Thanks a lot, Mimi.